What if I told you that the Lakers' most unknown player in their entire team might end up being their secret weapon eventually? I'm talking about Chris Manning, a two-way contract for their team that they picked up a few months ago, following his Summer League performance with the Golden State Warriors Summer League team. No, not with their Summer League team, but rather with Golden State's. Actually played the Lakers Summer League team and wreaked havoc against them on defense, which he is now doing at the G League level and at the NBA level a little bit too, albeit in a brief stint. Throughout 5 games in the G League so far, Chris Manning's averaging 3.2 steals per game and 2.8 blocks per game as a 6'5" guard. And no, I'm not joking about that. That's 6 combined steals and blocks per game in roughly 33 minutes per game. And yes, we're talking about the G League level, not the NBA level here. But if you have watched him or simply kept up with his numbers throughout college, the Summer League, and now the G League, it's a repeated trend for him that I don't think is going away anytime soon. And at this point, they might have found a secret weapon on defense that might eventually be able to become a Jordan Goodwin for them last season, or maybe if everything goes right for both him and their team, maybe a Caruso 2.0. And yes, that might be a bit wishful thinking, but he's really been that good on defense. So with that in mind here, we're going to talk about what he has shown so far, why he has been so impressive, why he actually could help their team later this season, if he can maintain this and maintain what he's shown on offense too, as that's been pretty impressive to go with it, and why the Lakers may have in fact found a secret weapon for their team going forward. But before we get too far into it, let's quickly go over our game day picks with Underdog Fantasy, the best way to get in on the NBA action this season. And if you want to follow along with me, here's what I got going on for later tonight. For my first pick, I got Luka Doncic having higher than 26.5 points. Playing the Utah Jazz and he just dropped 37 against them, I think he will have at least 27 tonight. Then for my second pick, I got DeAndre Ayton having higher than 11.5 points. Also dropping 20 against Utah last game, I think he can get higher than 11.5. Then for my third and final pick, I got Lauri Markkanen having higher than 21.5 points. And for an added bonus, I'm applying a 50% profit boost that you can currently get on Underdog right now when you sign up. So if you want to follow along with me or make your own picks, then be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy, and don't forget to use code JSM to get your free pick, plus up to $1,000 in bonus funds when you sign up. But now getting back to our topic and talking about Chris Manning here. You know, going through what he's shown at the G League level, it's been very impressive in my opinion. You know, I talked about it before and mainly on defense, but it's actually been on offense too. Up until this point, averaging 17.4 points per game in 5 games so far, one of which he's come off the bench in, playing 33 minutes per game. On top of that, shooting a very impressive 48.1% from the field and 50% flat from the 3-point line. Currently going 8 of 16 from the 3-point line, which is pretty impressive for him. After all, that was a big concern when they signed him. Back in his college career or even during the Summer League, wasn't a good 3-point shooter. Only shot roughly 30% back in college, shot even below that throughout Summer League, so definitely was a problem for him. Wasn't something that I was overly confident with him in, but up until this point it's shown improvement and it's actually looked pretty good on the court too. He's not hesitating, he's not afraid to shoot. In fact, he's actually even taking some pull-up 3-point shots and taking some DHO handoff 3-point shots. He's not afraid to take them, and the results are showing with it too. But like I said, the main thing to point to with him, and the reason why I think he's a secret weapon or potentially could be for their team, is and always will be his defense. I mean, the guy's simply an athletic freak and definitely has a great defensive motor. You don't have to motivate him to play defense, you don't have to go tell him to do it. The guy's always going to be motivated to do it by himself. The guy will always be motivated and always be willing to put his body on the line for his team on defense, which again, he has definitely shown throughout the G League so far. Like I said, I talked about the steals per game, 3.2 of them per game in only 33 minutes per game. Absolutely insane. I mean, if you're even translating that to the NBA, that would currently be the #1 in the entire league right now. Then on top of that, and maybe even more impressive, is the fact that he's blocking nearly 3 shots per game as a 6'5" combo guard. Yes, he is a pretty big combo guard, 6'5", 6'8" wingspan, and weighing between 200 to 215 pounds at this point. On top of that is a great athlete. You know, didn't get an invite to the NBA Combine, so we don't have an official vertical measurement for him. But if I had to guess, it's definitely somewhere in between 35 to probably 40 inches, which he definitely has confirmed by simply watching him on the court. When the guy gets the backdoor cut or even gets out in the open court in transition, he can definitely get up there and throw down a monstrous dunk. or when jumping a passing lane, which he's shown a ton of throughout the G League so far, showing it on this play here, simply reading the defense perfectly in transition, not dropping completely to the rim and simply watching the ball handler methodically, timing it perfectly, jumping the passing lane, and turning what could have been an easy bucket for the opponent in their transition offense into transition offense for their own team. Getting on the open court and throwing down a dunk here, showing off a little bit of the athletic ability and simply his timing within the defensive game. However, do not let that lead you into thinking that he is simply a passing lane guy and isn't a good on-ball defender. That's simply not the case. As shown on this play here, Chris Manning gets a little bit behind the ball handler, looking behind him for a screen coming I think, and loses track of him for a split second, which the ball handler thought he could take advantage of and drive to the rim. But Chris Manning's ability to recover on defense is absolutely insane, as shown here with his ability to get back and directly block the guy at the rim off the backboard. Showing his split second ability on defense, his timing to block the shot, his athletic ability to recover and then block it at the rim. He's kind of a one-man wrecking crew on defense, whether it's the passing lane stuff, whether it's the individual defense, whether it's even the rim protection, even as a 6'5" combo guard. He can really do it all out there on the court, and you get everything from him on defense that not many other guys can offer, neither at the G League nor the NBA level either. And heck, take a look at the box scores of this guy. In their past 5 games in a row as follows: he had 2 steals and 3 blocks, 4 steals and 2 blocks, 3 steals and 2 blocks, 4 steals and 3 blocks, and then 3 steals and 4 blocks 5 games ago. Absolutely insane, and you're not going to find that with just any player. If it's not Chris Manning, there's not any other player in the G League currently doing that, and you're not going to find that anywhere else. So in my opinion, with what he's showing at this point, with what he's actually developing on offense and the ceiling for him on both ends of the court, I think he definitely could be a valuable player for them, and maybe a lot sooner than many thought. In fact, probably not many people even knew about him on their team and what he had to offer their team, either in the short term or long term future. I mean, I know other guys in their team get talked about more and definitely get more love, like Adu Hero for example, and rightfully so. The guy's an athletic freak in his own right, is a very good defensive player, is a young talent on their team that's actually under a guaranteed standard contract. But let's not overlook Chris Manning here, or maybe Chris Mannion if you want to pronounce it correctly. I think he's a defensive talent that's pretty rare in today's game, a guy that can guard 1s, 2s, even 3s, a guy that's an elite defensive playmaker, a guy that has pretty much unlimited upside on defense, and even has a pretty decent ceiling on offense too. If he can maintain this 3-point shooting, even a semblance of it, and kind of shoot around 35 to 38%, even become a good catch and shoot guy from the corner and wing, that's automatically a good two-way player that they really don't have right now in my opinion. If we talk about the Lakers and what they're currently lacking, it's simply that, two-way ability. Guys that impact the game on both ends of the court. Mainly for their team, I'd even point to defense more than offense. Simply put, they have very few athletic, defensive-minded players in their team, even few defensive playmakers. Other than Marcus Smart, Jared Vanderbilt, a little bit with Jake Arabia, they don't really have anyone else. That's why they like Jordan Goodwin so much, for example. In fact, I'd even compare him to Jordan Goodwin a little bit. He is a bigger and more athletic version of Jordan Goodwin, but that's why they liked him and would have ideally liked to be able to keep him. They simply had to choose between him or being able to sign Marcus Smart, so it made it pretty easy for them. But with Jordan Goodwin, a crafty, fairly athletic, and defensive-minded guard, JJ Redick obviously liked him, talked glowingly about him during the season and even following it last season, elevating him from a two-way contract, much like Chris Manning is currently on right now, eventually late in the season to their standard contract or up to their 15-man roster and becoming a rotation player for them, simply from what he showed on defense at the G League level and in previous NBA stints. I think it might be a similar path for Chris Manning here, and they might be keeping a very close eye on him for that exact reason. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to hype him up too much. I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to be a breakout star or anything like that. But with what he's shown and what he has continuously shown, particularly on defense, I think he's kind of a rare opportunity for them to maybe add more defense to their team for literally no price at all, not having to trade to get him, not having to give up a lot of money or salary cap space to get him, but to simply find an undrafted guy that wasn't even on their summer league team that they have now found via two-way contract and get to evaluate throughout the season with his G League performance and hopefully with his NBA performance too. Like I said, he did play a little bit in the NBA for them back in Sacramento when they played Sacramento a few weeks ago, when they were playing without Luka Doncic, Marcus Smart, Gabe Vincent, having a very deteriorated backcourt, and that led to Chris Manning getting an opportunity. You know, he barely played, but in the brief action that he got on the court, he made an impact. Coming in and immediately defending the inbound pass after Zach LaVine got it, Chris Manning stripped it away from him and then immediately took it up the court and not being afraid to do so. Even navigating the defensive pressure here by Malik Monk, then initiating their offense and not even waiting for Austin Reeves to get it and being scared to do it. He initiates the offense, does a high pick and roll here with DeAndre Ayton, waits perfectly to time it, and throws a nice behind the head pass to DeAndre Ayton, which unfortunately gets stripped, but he set him up perfectly here. I think it shows his confidence, it shows his ability on defense, and what he might be able to become for their team eventually. I was actually very impressed with that, and again, he's shown much more of it throughout the G League, and even dating back to Summer League and throughout his college career too. So with all of that being said, I've been very impressed by Chris Manning. I think he could eventually make an impact for their team and is rightfully under a two-way contract with their team, which I don't think he should be replaced with, and I'm really curious about what you guys think. Have you watched Chris Manning at all? Has this been the first time you've heard about him? How much do you think he could help their team defensively if he would eventually get a chance? And how do you feel about the outlook with him with the Lakers going forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.